Cowboys Pregame Live is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
A live look inside AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where for the first time in 8 years, the Houston Texans make the short trip up I-45 for a state championship game of NFL proportions. It's Week 14 of the NFL season as the 1-10-1 Houston Texans take on your Dallas Cowboys. We are Cowboys Pregame Live here from the Star in Frisco alongside Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. We've got Haley Sutton and Nick Eatman out at AT&T Stadium. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Welcome into Week 14. And gentlemen, this is a game that at least on paper, the Cowboys should dominate. 1-10-1 Houston Texans, a team that right now would be picking number 1 in the NFL draft in April. However, it's one of those weeks where you don't want to eat the cheese. The media starting to pub the Cowboys after 3 straight wins. They're at 9-3, still trying to chase the Philadelphia Eagles, but everything in hand for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. However, this is a 17.5-point differential, a spread at the moment, according to Las Vegas, the largest of any NFL game this season. Don't eat the cheese just basically means don't get trapped, Barry. How do the Cowboys avoid that?
Well, even if the Cowboys did bite the cheese, I think they're still going to be in good hands here. Because if you look at what they bring, both of these teams bring to the table, it's truly lopsided. I mean, the Cowboys have one of the best defenses in all of the National Football League, and their offense has gotten better and better since the return of Dak Prescott from his injury. So to me, the Texans, they just don't have enough depth or talent to slow down one of the best teams in the NFC.
You already hit it on the head, Barry. These guys are polar opposites in every category that you could ever imagine, okay? I'm not a big analytics guy, but when you look at the analytics, these guys are on the total opposite ends of the spectrum. When you talk about turnovers, you talk about touchdowns, you talk about yards allowed, sacks, everything, every category, these guys couldn't be further apart. So with that said, Dallas Cowboys have to come out and make sure they hand these guys the L early and often so that these guys don't even have a glimpse of hope in this potential game.
Well, I wish they'd have left me a piece of the cheese, but it ain't. Cowboys, be yourself, go out there and dominate.
Took every slice of it all the way through.
All the way through.
The Cowboys today have to be lactose intolerant, right? I mean, you gotta reject it all the way through. You can't talk about winning a division, winning a conference championship, and going to the Super Bowl if you can't take care of the games you're supposed to win. This is one of those games for the Cowboys. Let's take a look at what the Texans can bring to the table, though. On the offensive side of the football, they make a switch at quarterback. Davis Mills, the second-year man out of Stanford. He was not the starter last week. Instead, it was Kyle Allen. They make the switch this time around, and now Davis Mills back at the starting helm. He started 10 games, this being number 11 this season. Isaiah, when you look at Davis Mills, why is it significant for this Dallas defense that he's the one behind center? How can he challenge this Cowboys team, or how does it affect the game?
You know what? I don't think it affects the game tremendously at all. I think they, no matter who they put back there with who they have in their depth chart, it was going to be bad for the Texans. And I believe that obviously you see his stats there: 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. In his last 2 games that he's actually played, he has 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. So Dallas needs to go out there and handle the business up front in terms of protecting the defensive front, not allowing those guys to run the ball, and then you put him in a position where he has to add to that 11 interceptions.
And as you saw there, 11 TDs, 11 interceptions. This guy is just an average guy. Don't make him more than what he is, because just a few days ago I was studying for Kyle Allen and the head coach changed. So that's just how important this guy is. Not at all.
Yeah, to me, it really doesn't matter who's at the quarterback position. You got the guy Davis Mills or Kyle Allen, because they're not going to have enough time to put the ball down the field. If you look at that Texans offensive line, they've given up 33 sacks so far this season. That's 8th worst in the National Football League. And they're going against one of the best units at pressuring the quarterback in the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, they just don't have enough. Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons, D-Law, they're going to get after both of these quarterbacks. And it's going to be an easy victory, in my opinion.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we're already 3 minutes into the show. You can make a prediction if you want to. We don't have to save it to the end. The one thing that we know will happen, though, is that the Texans will rely on their ground game. They're going to continue to give the ball to this man, Dameon Pierce, rookie out of Florida, 860 yards already this season, most by any rookie tailback. Oh, and by the way, he's broken over 30 tackles this year, more than Derrick Henry, more than Leonard Fournette, more than Saquon Barkley, more than Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor. Doesn't matter. He leads the NFL in broken tackles. Why is he the biggest challenge and a unique challenge for this Dallas defense to handle?
Look, this is a downhill, slashing, run through your face mask type of runner in and Pierce and Dameon Pierce out there. So this defense has got to have that right mentality when going against a guy like this. But for the past 3 weeks, they've gone against some of the NFL's top running backs. You got Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor. They've been able to hold those guys to 100 yards. So if they come with that swarming mentality that we know this defense can do, I think they'll have no problem handling Dameon Pierce.
You talk about the swarming defense, they're going to have to do that again today because Dameon Pierce is the most physical back that they've faced all year long. Hands down, not even a question about it. You guys see his average there, 4.3 yards per carry. Well, Dallas is giving up 4.6 yards per carry. Dallas is also giving up 129 yards per game. But what does he do really well? He runs after contact. You already heard the stat from Kyle in terms of how many tackles he's broken. This guy is averaging 2.3 yards after first contact. So that means he's getting 2 yards, and then he's carrying guys for another 2 yards. You're going to have to swarm this guy and get him to the ground.
Perfect tackles. Come up, balance yourself, run through the guy. No shoulder shots, no arms, because he will run through. This guy, like you say, Isaiah, is the most physical running back we've faced.
And that's the type of tailback you like to block in front of, right?
Yeah,
you want a guy who's going to do some of the dirty work out of the backfield. Dameon Pierce is one of those guys in this Dallas defense who's been good the last 3 weeks of stopping the run. Going to have to continue that against the Texans today. When we come back, though, here on Cowboys Pregame Live, we're just getting started. The Cowboys are going to get some help at wide receivers. James Washington makes his Cowboys debut. We talk to Nick Eatman out at AT&T Stadium next.
How do you guys try not to eat the cheese, especially against a team like this?
If you've been, you've been here long enough, you know that cheese doesn't taste good. Doesn't really serve you anything if you do. Coach always gives that message about eating the cheese, and as he says, it's for the young guys and the guys that haven't been around, and so it's important for us older guys to make sure the young guys understand that whether it's the stats the defense are putting up or the stats the offense are putting up or what people are doing individually, it really doesn't matter. We got to show up each and every day. We got to get better each and every week, and each opportunity that we go out there is not easy. And so if we're not focused on those guys, giving those guys the respect, as I said before, you'll be very upset the next day. So it's important just to continue to sharpen what we've gotten going, elevating ourselves, and just keep building. And knowing what's ahead of us when we take care of that.
Is this offense, you feel, in a little different place this late in the season than it's ever been?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely say it's building. I mean, obviously, for one, some guys weren't playing, myself early on, and guys did an amazing job, obviously, to win games and to build on the foundation of what we have. And then as guys get back and get healthy and get their feet underneath them, we've got a great run game. We're able to complement that with the pass, the play action, and I just think that because of the depth that we have, everybody's just focusing on doing their job and playing their role to the best of that ability, whatever that may be, whether it's 5 plays, whether it's 50 plays, whatever it is, just trying to come in and contribute to offense or to defense. And I know that's definitely how the young guys and the role players, I guess you can say on offense, attack their day and attack their preparation. And that's huge. It's huge for us to continue to build on that.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back here from the Star in Frisco with Cowboys Pregame Live. We had a ton of fun out at AT&T Stadium last week being on site for the game against the Indianapolis Colts. If you missed it, though, Cowboys Pregame Live will be back out on the AT&T East Plaza on Christmas Eve as the Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles in just a couple of weeks. And talking about AT&T Stadium, let's go live to the sidelines now, where we are now joined by DallasCowboys.com's very own Nick Eatman. Nick, do you sense a little bit of a rivalry here? These two teams only meet once every 4 years. It's very different of a matchup this time around than it was last time. But, of course, anytime you play an in-state rival, it could turn into a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, being on this side of it, though, no, I don't really sense a huge rivalry, and because Dallas doesn't really have that rivalry with Houston. Obviously, the Texans do, and they want to win this game more than anybody, and that's fine. But it's never been equal, but that's okay. But that's important too, because you need to match that intensity. Houston's going to have it. they've been hearing about it all week long, about, man, if you don't win any other game, win this one. I don't know if they're talented enough to do it, but I bet they bring their best shot.
Especially whenever the Cowboys have the record that they do at 9-3. They have to avoid the letdown and not overlook a team like Houston, because Houston's going to give them their best shot. But it may be tough for this Cowboys secondary to overlook anybody right now, replacing now 2 starters. Jordan Lewis going down earlier in the season. Anthony Brown out for the year now as he was put on IR this week. What type of trust is there in Kelvin Joseph to fill the hole of Anthony Brown at the moment? Deron Bland already having to do so for Jordan Lewis, but what kind of role does Kelvin Joseph play this week?
Well, when you talk about trust with Kelvin Joseph, I mean, it depends on who you ask. I mean, obviously, the fans, the media that watch him, they don't really have the same. Now, the Cowboys obviously do. They drafted him knowing, that he's had some off-the-field issues. They've kept him, with this team, knowing some of the things that happened with him off the field. But here he is. This is his moment to shine. And, I think that it's a good matchup for him and for those young defensive backs going up against a Houston team that struggles to throw the ball, and they've got some of their best receivers out as well.
He's been vastly improved on special teams, second-round pick last year out of Kentucky, really finally getting an opportunity to start this year. Talking about an opportunity, it's a debut for James Washington at the wide receiver position. He was a free agent pickup this offseason for the Cowboys. What type of role do you anticipate him playing after coming back from injury that he sustained in training camp?
Well, I think that, he's going to have a big role just when it comes to throwing the ball down the field. I did get a chance to talk to him. He thinks there's going to be some vertical routes in this game, and I know everyone's excited about seeing him. I'm seeing it. I'm excited about it. I know my wife's at home watching this pregame show. She's from James Washington's hometown in Stanford, Texas. Everyone's excited about seeing him. And you know what? He's played well here. He's been at 3 state championship games at AT&T Stadium, so we'll see if he feels right at home in his debut.
Getting right back at home at AT&T Stadium, and it's only fitting that it is a state championship game. You're playing against a team from just down the road in Houston for James Washington to make his Cowboys debut. Nick Eatman joining us here on the sideline. Thanks so much, Nick. We'll check in with you a little bit later on in the show. But when we come back, Mike McCarthy has a reunite with an old friend in Lovie Smith. What type of advantage does Mike McCarthy have on the headset as they take on the Texans today?
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Zeke, what is it like seeing Tyron, back running around out there a little bit to extend, and what does that mean for you to potentially have him back soon?
Yeah, Tyron, he looks good. He looked really good today. He's out there striking guys. Felt bad for those DNs he was going against. I'm sure they're going to have some bruises on their chest tonight, but definitely good to have Tyron back out there. He looks good. He looks in shape. Looks darn good.
What can you guys take away from your slow starts against the Detroit Lions and then the Colts to kind of make sure that you guys get off on a fast start against a Houston Texans team that you're heavily favored against?
I wouldn't necessarily say we had a slow start. I say it's the NFL, and yeah, we finished with 33 points in the fourth quarter, but that's just the NFL. Most of these games are one-score games. We've had a couple in the past 3 or 4 that got kind of out of hand, but it's normal in the NFL for it to be a close game. That's how it's supposed to be. It's pro teams. So we want to start fast, but I wouldn't necessarily say that the past couple weeks we've had slow starts.
Time is running thin to sign up for the one-day Football and Dance Academy holiday camps at AT&T Stadium, December 20th and 21st. You can sign up right now at dallascowboys.com/academy. Get the kiddos out of the house during Christmas break. Presented by Invisalign, and have a chance to take the field at AT&T Stadium. Welcome back in to Cowboys Pregame Live. Week 14, Cowboys Texans coming up at noon on Fox. Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback back with us. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And gentlemen, this is a game where, of course, Mike McCarthy going up against Lovie Smith. These two coaches, have battled quite a bit. 17 all-time meetings, this being number 17. And McCarthy's had the advantage in the past. Where does he have the advantage today, Nate?
He has the better players. Simple. I mean, as long as you coach your players and make them play where they're supposed to play or the way they're supposed to play at a high level, he will have no problems. He will just advance his record to 16 games, right?
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Nate. Familiarity only matters when the guys on the field are equal in talent. And this is so lopsided in terms of personnel is concerned that it really doesn't matter. You might have some things that Lovie Smith can pick up and identify, but the reality is McCarthy's not calling the plays. So it really doesn't matter in that regard either. This should be a pretty easy victory for McCarthy, even though he has the familiarity with Lovie Smith there.
From your connection with Mike McCarthy and kind of those conversations that you've had throughout, how much of an influence does he have on the play calling? Because, yes, he's not the one with the chart in front of him and actually putting it out on the headset, but he's definitely one that's giving some input.
I think he's definitely giving some input, and I think you're starting to see him and his wisdom rub off on Kellen Moore. You talk about a Kellen Moore who wanted to throw the ball around 40-plus times per game over the past few years, but now you're starting to see him really start to dwindle that down to about the 30 reps for Dak Prescott. I think that's a direct relation to McCarthy's effect on him in terms of his coaching. Yeah,
and speaking on Dak Prescott, the slow starts have been a problem for the Cowboys. He's thrown some early interceptions, but really this is nitpicking with how well the Cowboys have been playing early on. Nate, are the slow starts the biggest bugaboo right now for this Cowboys team to try and fix as they head into the back half of the schedule?
For me, Kyle, yes, I think it is. I would like for them to start a little bit faster, but from listening to the coaching staff and Coach McCarthy, they're not really worried about it because they come out, especially against these weaker teams, and they trying things. I wouldn't try them because I'm just a conservative guy, but they have no problem with it. So the starts are what they are.
Yeah, the starts are what they are, but I'm more concerned about Dak and what you guys see there on the screen in terms of his interceptions. You don't see it. It's not being highlighted as much. It's not in a glass bowl as much as you typically would be at this time of the year because these guys are being so successful. But the reality is he has 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions over the last 5 games, averaging about 244 yards per game. That sounds pretty good until you start thinking about the teams that you're going to have to face going into the playoffs. Once the playoffs present themselves, that's when you can afford to give teams more opportunities. As soon as those records turn to 0-0 and you start facing teams like the Philadelphia Eagles of the league, those opportunities turn into points and eventually turn into losses.
These next 2 games are a good way for him to try and clean some of that up as well. He's throwing the ball around a little bit better, though, because you could see the numbers of CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup improving. Last week, both of those guys combining for over 90 yards. Of course, Michael Gallup had a couple touchdowns, CeeDee with one of his own. How have the wide receivers grown from the start of the year, Nate, to where they are now and their role respectively in this offense?
As my man Isaiah said, familiarity. I can't pronounce all these big words, but they getting to know each other. Yeah. They starting to build a bond. You can see that Michael Gallup is starting to get his explosion back. You see that CeeDee Lamb is starting to run better routes, and they're starting to marry up with their quarterback. That is where they're getting better at.
I think that CeeDee Lamb has humbled himself. I truly think he's humbled himself in regard to say, hey, I'm a lot more and I need to be a lot more than just a big play catching receiver. He's starting to block downfield for his guys. He's starting to make big plays in that regard. He's turning into a possession guy. Michael Gallup's accepted his role that, hey, I'm not to this date, I haven't been the juice guy down the field. I'm the big catch guy now. I'm the possession guy. I'm the guy who's responsible for moving the chains. Let's see how that carries out now with James Washington getting back in the fold.
And, of course, some tight ends to throw the football to as well. Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, Dalton Schultz all playing today, as well as James Washington getting into the fold too. So a lot of options for Dak Prescott overall. Speaking of options, Cowboys have limited options in the secondary, but Deron Bland has been a huge plus for this Cowboys secondary. 2 interceptions last week. When we come back, we go deeper dive into how he can help this secondary moving forward.
I mean, we know we got it in us, so it wasn't too surprising. We're always a second half team anyway, so it was a good boost.
When you guys are stringing together wins this time of year, can you feel momentum building week to week?
What'd you say?
When you guys are stringing together wins like you have been, do you feel momentum building?
Oh yeah, it's always building. I mean, but it's the fourth quarter now, so all these games are really come down to it. This is when you start playing your best football, or you're supposed to, because everybody's a little bit tired, a little straining a little bit. So yeah, momentum. You need that momentum because everybody's a little bit tired now.
Michael, we've talked a lot about what this defense can do, what this run game can do. What do you think you and CD have shown this receiving group can do the last couple of weeks?
Just be competitive out there. A lot of folks really just be ratting us off. We ain't got a big three no more. That's what everybody says. But we know what we got in this room. Noah Brown's a great compliment to both of us. He does exactly what we need him to do. Same with me and CD. So it's just, we're just shocking heads, to be honest.
One of the bright spots for this talented Dallas Cowboys defense has been the rookie DeMarcus Ware. Last week, he became just the 5th Cowboys rookie in the last 35 seasons to have a multi-interception game with 2 picks against the Indianapolis Colts. And more on his growth and the impact in a secondary that is missing a couple key pieces. Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium and hear from Haley Sutton.
The Dallas Cowboys are notorious for drafting and developing well, and this year's rookie class has had no issue stepping up when their name is called. And this afternoon, all eyes will be on the secondary. The team looking to fill the gap lost by Anthony Brown last week as he injured his Achilles, and Jordan Lewis from earlier in the season when he broke his foot. But I have a feeling the future looks a little bland.
Bland literally stole that ball from Ashton Dillon. It was a tie ball, and Bland stole it away for his 2nd interception of the night.
Being a ball player, that's always something I thought of just being a little kid. I always imagined making plays like that just at this level. So it's been fun.
It has been a roller coaster of a season for rookie cornerback DeMarcus Ware.
I had to not take just a role player role. I had to take more of a leadership role as a nickel position. I had to talk more. It was one of my problems coming in. So it's been good so far, though.
A 5th-round pick in this year's draft, Bland has become an integral part of the Cowboys secondary as of late. A testament to him taking advantage of his opportunities early in the season.
Over the middle, it's intercepted. It is DeMarcus Ware.
Coming off the best game of his young career, where he snagged 2 picks in a dominating win over the Colts last week, Bland says this is nothing new for him, and neither is this Sunday's game, where once again it'll be the fresh faces taking the field.
Our room is so tight that we just kind of just see what happens. Like, we all help each other. Whatever happens. We never let anybody get down on themselves.
Second-year corner Kelvin Joseph will also have all eyes on him this week. Number 1, stepping in for the injured Anthony Brown, a moment he's earned but still has something to prove.
Always being ready and ready when your name calls. So when it's time, you can come up and make plays. Just putting all the focus on the wide receivers that I'm about to face this week, the formation and the plays that we expect, and just capitalize and make plays at the end of the day.
It's been so fun to see DeMarcus Ware develop as the season has gone on. When I spoke to him earlier in the season after that Washington game, you could feel his nervousness. And then when I spoke to him earlier in the week, he had no issue telling me he's ready to step up to the plate. As for Kelvin Joseph, this is his time to show he's earned this spot. So we will see how those guys step up in tonight's game. From here at AT&T Stadium, I'm Haley Sutton. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Haley. And, of course, DeMarcus Ware has been a welcome sight for that Cowboys secondary. Already missing Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown. They're having to make some adjustments. They may be without Jayron Kearse as well. Developing story at the moment. He was just taken to the locker room after pregame warm-ups or during pregame warm-ups out at AT&T Stadium. We'll give you some updates as we continue to get ready for the Cowboys and the Texans. But let's go back to the cornerback room. We'll talk about that because that's what we know about at the moment, even though former safety, probably a little worried there about Kearse, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm a little bit worried. That's the quarterback of your defense back there. Multi-tool player, plays great in the box, plays great in the half as well. That's going to be a big loss if he cannot go.
And, of course, him being on the backside of a cornerback room room that now is starting a second-year player in Kelvin Joseph and a rookie in DeRon Bland. He could certainly help things out. Where does the trust lie for a guy like Kelvin Joseph who's seen minimal time on the defensive end, but he's shown some improvement on special teams?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Kyle. My confidence level in Kelvin Joseph is pretty low. I'm sitting at about a 5 out of 10 right now, and that's simply because I can only go by what I see out there. When he's had a lengthy opportunity at the cornerback position, it hasn't been too great. You go all the way back to the preseason, he's getting victimized by multiple deep balls and also giving up a touchdown. You fast forward to last week against the Colts, he's filling in for an injured Anthony Brown out there, and once again, he gives up another touchdown out there. So to me, personally, I don't have a high trust level, but maybe after a week of preparation of being that starting corner and getting the after practice workouts with Al Harris and Joe Witt Jr., he'll be prepared to play because we're going to need him to step up with the absence of Anthony Brown.
He's never really had those snaps, either in practice or in the game as well, so it's a good thing to see Kelvin Joseph getting in the fold and getting this opportunity. We'll be back with more Cowboys pregame live. We'll tell you why you shouldn't go anywhere. Zeke looking to eat against the Houston Texans today.
What journey that we're on. We're going to be facing a different team each and every week, and it doesn't matter about their record or, what they went through. It's really about, us honing in on, where we're trying to go and also, our details. So it's really about us.
Is this the most fun you've ever had playing football or pro football anyway?
Yes. Yeah, I'm enjoying this year most definitely, but just understanding where we're trying to go. I mean, it's fun, on Sundays, but, the day-to-day work is, excruciating because, we have to be, precise on our details and making sure, that our communication is at a high level so we can actually, go out there and make those plays. So, yeah, it's fun, but, it's still work.
Doing that, focusing on just this year, is that something that maybe you didn't do as much earlier in your career? Because you just think about, I got plenty of time in this league, and now you're looking at it as like, I got to get the Super Bowl. That's something that matters.
No, sir. I focus on it each and every year. Maybe we don't have, the talent or, we didn't set the standard early in the season of what we're going forward to. But, it's an each and every year thing. Like, I don't think nobody signed up to play the game of football and, come out one year and be like, all right, well, I'm not trying to reach the championship. I think that's every team's focus, each and every year, but only 2 teams get to make it.
Cowboys Pregame Live was brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
That's it for Cowboys Pregame Live on TV. Join us on DallasCowboys.com for more coverage right now.
Look at the defense. You, Trayvon, and DeMarcus get a lot of attention and things like that. What about the rest of the guys and what they've meant to the success of what you guys have been able to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going off the quote is everybody's him. And, when you got quarterbacks who don't want to go Trayvon's way, and that creates more opportunities for guys like Bland to get those opportunities. That makes more opportunities for Kelvin Joseph or even, all those other guys or even with me over there and Law over there, and we might get double teamed or we might get chipped or we might get sliding protection. I use a lot like, D.A., Dorrance Armstrong, who's made a big jump this year, for him to dominate the way he has for us. Even Dante, he's been stepping up in a great way. So it leaves everybody a chance to create their own identity, and that's kind of what you want. I think everyone's been creating their own identity, and creating their own path of how they want their career and success to be.
Back here on Cowboys Pregame Live from the Star in Frisco. Thanks for joining us here on the internet side of things. TV work out of the way. We're done, ready to go, and continue talking about the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys. Again with Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Gentlemen, this is an important game for the Cowboys, maybe not because of the records of the two teams at hand, but because every game right now is important for the Cowboys with 5 games remaining in the NFL regular season, still trying to chase that second team on the list there, the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, you get a chance to maybe take one back. You're down by 2 games in the NFC East title hunt. By Philadelphia, you get a chance to maybe get one back there, but you've got to win the rest of your games to even have a chance. What do you look at, and what stands out the most when you look at the rest of this schedule, Barry?
Well, we all know what it's going to come down to, that Philadelphia Eagles game. We all understand that. But in order for this team to keep that momentum going, keep going in the right direction, stick with the formula that's got you here. We all understand that. Lean on your strengths, the ground game and the defense. It's worked out for you this far. Go ahead and keep doing that, and you'll finish the season strong and get into the playoffs riding high.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the fact that you have to continue to not turn the ball over. That's the biggest thing for Dallas right now. They're running the ball well, okay, they're getting touchdowns, they're playing really good defense, but the one thing that can really mess us up is the turnover margin. You look at what they did all season long. These guys are one of the best in the league in terms of turnovers, but the thing is, the one game they had 3 turnovers was against the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFC East leaders. Okay, the games in which we had 0 turnovers, we had an 18-point margin of victory. So that's the recipe for success.
I've been in this before where you're chasing the team. What you have to do is continue to play at a high level. Don't play down. Play at your level. And like you said, Isaiah, no turnovers. Be immaculate in that.
Yeah, you got to continue to play steady, consistent football, and that's what the Cowboys have been doing recently. Going to have to continue that against Jacksonville, and then, of course, today against the Houston Texans. They'll try and do so without these players as we take a look at the inactive list. Jabril Cox at the top, a big notable name on there. Jalen Tolbert and Marquise Bell now in the conversation because we just talked about Jaron Kearse on the TV side of things, taken to the locker room. Without Marquise Bell in the fold, he's kind of your replacement in that spot. It's going to be an interesting conversation, but of course, James Washington back at wide receiver brings Jalen Tolbert back into the fold. Nate, when you look at this list, which one stands out the most?
Now that the curse is the Bell. We need him out there, but Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson been doing a super job. Now they just have to tighten up just a little bit better.
I'm looking at the special teams. What's going to happen to the special teams today? You have no Jabril Cox out there. You have no Tolbert out there. Those are 2 of your main guys that have been on all your units. Who's going to take those spots?
Without a doubt. And we talked about Kearse. That's a huge loss if it is a huge loss for the Dallas Cowboys. We need Bell to step in there and be that special teams leader, that special teams ace. He's great at it. Hopefully he can come in and suit up for this team.
And, of course, we're seeing Washington here in terms of what you can bring from injury, have him back into the fold. Isaiah, as a wide receiver coming off of an injury, what can you expect out of him today?
Slow and controlled. Give him some routes that he can handle, build his confidence. With a foot injury, every route that he takes, every step that he takes, he's going to be doing it precisely. He's going to be very, very, very intentional about every step that he's taking in his route, coming out of the breaks. So give him some things that he can build his confidence, quick out routes, quick slants, and let him go out there and try to get some yak yardage.
Yes, the heavy cut, they should make that as at least as possible. He should be able to just run these fly routes, deep crosses, things like that, so I have to put a lot of pressure on that foot.
Yeah, that's one thing you got to keep in mind. You don't want to re-aggravate anything. It's been a long time. There's been some extra time kind of cushioning his return. Glad to see James Washington back in the fold and something to look forward to as we continue along here on Cowboys Pregame Live. Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium and hear from Haley Sutton as she's now joined by a special guest.
Thanks, guys. Well, I don't need an introduction for this man, DeMarcus Ware. We were chatting just a few minutes ago about how nice it was for you to be on this side of the field now. Yeah. How are you taking in today's game?
Just like a fan. When I was out there on the field, I had the blinders on, so I really didn't see anybody because I was so focused. But now I can see half of the field jumbotron. I can see the players and the fans, and I can sort of feel that fan vibe. So I'm enjoying it.
The defense has been impressive this year, to say the least.
Yes.
What have you thought of them so far?
You know what? I see a lot of maturity. We've always had the talent, and now you can see in that third and fourth quarter the grit really come from those guys, and it's really seeing an opportunity or just seeing them grow. And it's just great just to see that.
And on the other side of the ball, the offense is starting to find their stride as well. The term we like to throw around often is complementary football.
Okay.
How impressed are you with the complementary football that this team is playing?
Well, the complementary football that you're talking about is defense winning the championship, winning first, and that's what they're putting first, right? And then the offense is starting to pick up and starting to be consistent, being able to control the clock, score when they want to give the defense enough rest to go out there and wreak havoc.
I know this game is considered a rivalry, a Texas showdown, if you will, but what are your expectations of this matchup facing a Houston Texans team that hasn't maybe met expectations, but you can't take anyone lightly?
You know, you can't take this game lightly because these teams, they want to own Texas for a year with that win. So I think this is going to be a close game. I would say like a 27-10 game, but one thing that I want to see is them controlling the game, controlling the clock with the run, making those big plays, and defense really playing lights out and getting a lot of turnovers.
I know we're still a little bit of a ways out, but do you think this team has the making of a Super Bowl championship team?
They do. If everybody stays healthy and get to that postseason, they can close it out this year.
All right, you heard it here first from DeMarcus Ware. This is a Super Bowl winning team. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, Haley. DeMarcus Ware has had some fun against offensive tackles in his day. He terrorized the NFL back, of course, in his playing time with the Cowboys and then after that with the Denver Broncos. So let's talk about some offensive tackles, starting with the Cowboys' very own Tyron Smith. Not returning this week, but he did start his 21-day practice window and was back out on the field for the Cowboys after his training camp injury in the summer. Nate, when you look at Tyron Smith and what he could bring to the table, what type of change can we see up front for this Cowboys team to have him back in the fold?
Kyle, if he come back ready to play, we're going to have the number one offensive line in the league. They got to put him in. Don't mess around like you did with Peters. Put him in there. Give him his 70 snaps so he can be ready to help this team down the stretch. And that's what we need to be looking at because they already decided that he is your left tackle.
That's the big dog on the line. I mean, you obviously got Martin over there, but that's the big dog. When things get rough and heated, you look over there and you see him, and he's cool, calm, and collected. And you know you have a bully on your team, you can go into any alley ready to roll.
Without a doubt, he can bring that calming factor to this offensive line, who's only given up 15 sacks so far this season. I think what he brings to this offensive line is experience. He's played at one of the highest levels that any offensive tackle can play at. He can bring that calming factor to this unit when things start to get hectic. So they're going to welcome Tyron Smith back with open arms.
Yeah, it's good to see him back into the fold. And, of course, he's going to be a game changer up front for the Cowboys. That offensive line-wise has played really well this season. So maybe that's one of the conversations to be had. Do you mess up some of the chemistry? Not so much whenever you've got a Tyron Smith back in the fold, but it is a debate that you can continue forward with. Now, Nate, you've had an opportunity to see Laramie Tunsil play throughout his career, the offensive tackle for the Texans, one of the best in the business at doing so. He's one of the reasons why they have run the football so effectively. How will he challenge this Dallas defense?
Oh, he's a big man, as you see right there. He's well built, kind of along the lines of the guy we just finished talking about. He can run guys around the deal. He can set down inside and stop people from the inside pass rush. What I like about him, man, is he's a total athlete. You can get out and pull with him. He can block. He can run block. He can pass block. But what the main thing is, man, he's wasting away over there in La La Land. I mean, down the road in La La Land.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's down there wasting away. The only thing that's bad for the Texans is he can only block one guy. And usually there's about 2 or 3 guys around the quarterback. So as good as he is, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, this is a dominating tackle out there. As Nate was saying, kind of a road grader, can protect against any pass rusher out there. So this is going to be a huge test for DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Parsons. They're going to try to go against one of the best offensive tackles in the game. Hopefully they can get the better of him.
Yeah, that's a good point because you have that confidence, just like you do with Tyron Smith being back in the fold. He's the bully for the Texans side, so expect them to run right behind him quite a bit. Speaking of running the football, Zeke or Pollard, of course, it's been a debate amongst Cowboys Nation for time to come. Both of these guys have been playing a huge role in this offense. We're not asking to choose either or in terms of who should get the carries or who's going to have the bulk of the snaps. However, I will ask you to make a prediction. Who's going to have the bigger game today against the Texans, Barry?
I'm going to go with Pollard on this one. I understand what Zeke brings to the table, but he's more that tenderizing back, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I feel like Pollard's going to be able to go out there and have those explosive home runs that we've seen in the past. So to me, I'm going with Pollard on this instance.
I'm going with TP.
TP's.
I'm going with Zeke. I think Zeke's going to have a better game. Wow. When you look at the stat line, I think TP's going to have more yards. When you talk about the impact on the game in terms of the blocking and the road grading, things downhill, I'm going to rely on Zeke because I think he does most of the dirty work.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Zeus. I'm going straight with the man Zeke. I mean, I'm shocked that Barrett for switching out like that.
Ooh.
Zeke is the man. He's the tenderizer. He's the one that make the whole team tough. When we talked to Zach Martin said, we'll get Zeke back and we will be tough.
It's been super even back and forth between those two production-wise, but I'm with Barry. I'm going to even things up. Because the thing is, with Barry Church saying it, that's a defender that knows how those guys play. I'm going with the weapon. The Tony Pollard show is going to be back at AT&T Stadium. Big plays, big chunk yards for TP today. He has the better day against Ezekiel Elliott. All right, Cowboys, Texans coming up at noon on Fox. Let's go back out to AT&T Stadium because getting you ready, we've got Nick Eatman now catching up with Cowboys COO Stephen Jones.
All right, thanks, Kyle. And as always, we're joined by Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer here. And we've been talking a lot about Dallas, Houston, state championships. You've been to a few state championship games, obviously, with your son being a great high school quarterback. Is this a state championship in the NFL level?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's sure a big game that we want to win. I mean, anytime we play the Texans, we're always trying to get our share of the fans here in the state of Texas, and we sure don't want to lose any. But, have nothing but respect for the McNairs, the family. Certainly miss Bob, but Cal and Mrs. McNair doing a great job running the team. Know they're, got a new coach down there, I think a lot of, and Lovie Smith. But, this is always big, and I know we lost a tough one to them when they were, when they were coming out as a new franchise. But this is certainly a big one for us. We'll hopefully come out and really execute and keep the momentum that we got going today. But certainly Houston will have a lot to say about that, but we're ready to go to work.
This week in practice, obviously it's – let's be joined by like one of the greatest pass rushers in NFL history here, and DeMarcus Ware, as he just joins in. Can he suit up for this game?
I'd let him suit up anytime he wants. Bring that heat is what I want. Although this group's doing a good job this year.
DeMarcus Ware joins in, and I bet you we're about 3 months away, or maybe 2 months away from saying Hall of Fame DeMarcus Ware. I mean, I hopefully that happens.
One of the greatest to ever do it, and certainly one of our all-time favorites, but a great player.
Since I got you here, I mean, we're going to be seeing his name up here at some point as well, right?
He'll be up there as well.
All right, let's get back to this game right here. You've got some guys on defense that are going to be playing a lot. You've got two cornerbacks that have been out for the season. So one of them, Kelvin Joseph, comes in this game. What's your thinking about him and just the trust factor of him playing in this big role?
We think he's one of the more talented corners we have. He's got great length, great ball skills, of course, great all the things you look for in a skill set for a corner. The biggest thing he's got to do is be consistent. He's done that on special teams, played at a really high level for Bones over there on that. He's just got to bring that same consistency to the corner position. I believe he'll do it. I know he's been looking for this opportunity, and he's got it now, and it'll be great to see how he does.
What are you excited to see about James Washington making his debut for the Cowboys?
Well, when we got him, we were, really impressed with how he plays the vertical ball. And so, we'll hopefully get the ball down the field to him on 2 or 3 times, and that's where he shines. But it'll be great to have him out there, and we'll start to work him back in.
All right, we appreciate that. Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. Kyle, we'll throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much, Nick. Let's take a look at what we saw earlier with Jaron Kearse. He went down in the middle of team warm-ups for the Cowboys. This was the look on the sideline as he was being attended to by the Cowboys training staff, holding on to that left knee or maybe the thigh area. Good news for him. After going back to the locker room, he did emerge. He was back out on the field, not with the team, though. He was going through workout with the training staff. So he was back in the end zone, up on his feet, moving around. So a good sign there, but everything very concerning at the moment for Jaron Kearse and his availability today against the Texans. What are the keys to getting a win for the Cowboys, to getting that 10th win as they take on the Texans at noon?
Well, you just got to be yourself out there. Got to be yourself. You've been dominating so far this season, offensively, defensively, and this team that you're going up against, they don't have the talent. They don't have the depth to play with you. Don't give them any type of momentum. Make sure this game is over after the first quarter, and it'll be a wrap.
I think these guys need to go ahead and take over Texas and wrangle up Dameon Pierce, because if you take care of him, you take care of the rest of this Texas team.
All week, I know the coach has been telling me, play at your level, and that's what I think is you play at your level, play high for 4 quarters. no matter who's in there, you have the better team, the better talent, and you have the better coach. Let's go win.
Yeah, check all the boxes,
Yes.
get off to a good start, and put this one away early. The Cowboys taking on the Texans on Fox at noon. Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez on the call for that one. Enjoy the broadcast, everybody. We'll be back with post-game coverage here from the Star in Frisco, but that does it for Cowboys Pregame Live. For Barry, Isaiah, Nate, and our entire crew, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Enjoy the game, everybody. Cowboys and Texans.